Hey, Randy Hunter here from beginningsax.com and randyhunterjazz.vhx.tv. I hope you'll check out my websites for lots of jazz improv and beginning sax lessons. I've got a ton of blues lessons there too. I haven't done a lesson in this set for a little while, and today when I got an email from someone that uses my lessons, Uwe, I believe I'm pronouncing that name correctly. I sure hope I am. In Germany, and he suggested this lick from Dexter Gordon's solo on Herbie Hancock's tune "Watermelon Man," and I just couldn't believe I hadn't thought of putting this lick in our series prior to now. But it's just such a great call and response sort of lick. Now, this is from the album Taken Off, and Herbie Hancock had a couple of recordings of Watermelon Man. This was the original one, and this was from his debut album, his inaugural album. Herbie Hancock's first album, and Dexter's on this album, Freddie Hubbard's on this album, a host of great jazz musicians. But this is just such a classic solo from Dexter, and it really, really exemplifies the call and response nature of the way blues motifs often work. And we'll just go through this one pretty quick. And if you know much about me and my my lessons and stuff, I'm just a Dexter fanatic. I love Dexter to death. He's one of my absolute favorite players. I love everything about the boldness of his sound, which is really exemplified in this solo, his articulation, and his rhythm that he plays with. So all of these are factors in the way he plays. But also Dexter is really just laying out a great call and response sort of motif. We've got he answers that with, and then he brings it to conclusion. You might be tempted to do a fall on that last note like that, but really all he's doing is, as far as I can tell, it's a throat bend downward. So Dexter in this solo throughout, he on these dominant chords, these are G7 chords, and this is, in case you're not familiar with Watermelon Man, most people are, but it's a 16-bar blues. So, most of our blues are commonly 12-bar blues, but there are many different formats for the blues, and 16-bar is a common form for the blues. So, the tune lays on that one chord, the G7 chord, for 4 bars. There's no quick 4 or anything. And Dexter, he just loves to play that blues third, that minor third, on these dominant chords. And he does this many times throughout this whole solo. So if you check him out, if you're listening to him, transcribing him, or even if you find a transcription of the solo, and and it's online, I know you can find it. You'll find that Dexter uses a lot of minor thirds on these dominant, on particularly the dominant one chord, and that's what this starts on. So we're on a G7 chord. He starts on the B flat, and then our next set of notes are from the pentatonic scale, G A G E. So minor third, root 2, root 6, and then back to the minor third. And then he answers it with very much the same thing. Minor third to the root, to the 2, to the root, to the 6, and then up to the high 6. And so those E's, the 6, that's out of the pentatonic scale, which is often associated with dominant chords. So anyway, I'm thinking it's out of the pentatonic scale. He may be even thinking like the major blues scale, but I really don't think so. I think he's just thinking notes that are commonly used on the dominant chord. The 6 is a commonly used note. So he plays it once, he restates it with the higher E. And then the final response, the way he gets out of it, he brings our musical sentence to conclusion. So he goes to the C sharp, and it's on a C sharp dominant chord. So, I'm sorry, it's on a C7, a C dominant chord, and he's laying on that C sharp, and I really don't feel like that note is being played in relation to the C7 chord as much as it is being played in relation to the key, because that C sharp is a primary note in our blues scale. So I hear blues scale all through that. So, I'm really hearing blues scale kinds of sounds with these B flats, and they're kind of offset a little bit by the major sound that comes, or the dominant sound that comes with the sixes. And then he goes to that flat 5, that C sharp, that, we could think of it as D flat, we could think of it as sharp 11. Usually when I'm thinking of blues scale, I'll think of the note as being a flat 5. If I were thinking a dominant 7 chord, for instance, I would might analyze it as a sharp 11. But since we're talking blues scale and a very key-centered sort of sound as opposed to a chordally specific sound, I don't think he's playing chord to chord to chord as much as he is playing within the key with these blues sounds. So just a really cool call, really kind of call, and final response sort of lick. So listen to the whole lick one more time, and then, of course you can take it and practice it in this key. You can learn it in different keys if you want to. This one really works very well in this particular key on the tenor sax. Okay, dig it. So cool. Now, remember, visit my websites, randyhunterjazz.vhx.tv. That's my subscription site. You can, monthly subscription, you've got access to all of my lessons, or you can purchase my lessons individually at beginningsax.com.